Calling all my sweeties to the forefront. I'm your host, Renee Hayslett, and this is the Keep It Positive Sweetie Show. Welcome to Keep It Positive, Sweetie, the place where we heal, grow, and learn together. Today's guest is a corporate leader, speaker, and now author whose story is rooted in grit, transformation, and the power of owning every part of who you are. I am so glad to be sitting with Tiffany Willis. Tiffany Willis is a CPA, Fortune 100 executive, and motivational speaker whose journey is nothing short of extraordinary. From becoming a mother at 14 and experiencing homelessness to leading at the highest levels of corporate America, including serving as senior vice president at Starbucks, she has built a career and a life defined by resilience, grit, discipline, and purpose. Now, through her book, Own Your Narrative, she's inviting others to reframe their stories, showing that your struggles are not something you have to hide, but something that can shape your strength. Kids only, please give a very warm welcome to now author Tiffany Willis. How are you doing, Tiffany?
I'm doing well. Thank you so much for having me, Crystal.
Welcome. Yes, no, we're happy to have you today. Your story is so dynamic. When I heard about it, I was like, no, we have to have her on.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
I'm
absolutely.
so excited to keep it positive with Sweetie.
Yes, we're going to have a good time today. I remember we first met, there was an event that I did with Trey Young.
Yes.
And you were there. There's a lot of executives there from different brands, and you were there and we got to meet. So when Wes was like, she wrote a book, I was like, oh, we have to have her on.
Oh, thank you for having me.
Yes, absolutely. So before we get into everything and talk about your book, I want to play a quick game of rapid fire.
Okay.
This is just to break the ice, and then we're going to get into it, okay?
Perfect.
So the first thing that comes to mind, your Starbucks order.
Ooh, my Starbucks order. It would be a venti vanilla bean frappuccino with caramel wall and heavy caramel drizzle on top because caramel is a vegetable.
Wow, I think I just learned that today. She said caramel wall, and so the caramel wall is when they put it in the cup.
Yes, it's when it goes
Okay.
around the cup.
Yes.
So it's in essence a wall.
I love that. Okay,
yeah.
that sounds good. Nice and sweet.
Nice and sweet.
Yes. Okay, do you like a red eye or a daytime flight?
A red eye.
Me too. I love it, especially coming from LA.
Yes,
I need
because
a
then
red
you're,
eye.
you're still productive all day.
Yes, exactly. Heels or sneakers?
Oh, sneakers, especially Chucks.
Okay.
Chucks
Chuck
and
girl.
pearls.
Yes, there you go.
Yes.
What's your I need a moment ritual?
I need a moment ritual would have to be listening to Beyonce.
Okay, you're my kind of girl. All right, we are here. I love it. What's a small thing that brings you joy?
A small thing that brings me joy, probably fresh air, right? Because it's just quiet, it's open, you can just walk. So I think the fresh air really brings me like that joy, that moment.
I love that. Yeah, have you checked out the trails here in Georgia? The walking trails?
A little bit, but right now you can't go out because it's all the pollen.
Baby, I literally just did some sinus drops before we started this interview because every 5 minutes I'm like, am I about to sneeze?
Oh yeah, it's like raining lemon pepper out here right now.
I saw on Instagram where somebody said, this is what's happening to your cars at night, and it was a guy putting lemon pepper on the
Yes,
car.
yes, exactly.
Literally, that is what's happening. Well, I'm super excited to have you here today. We were talking about your new book, Own Your Narrative.
Yes.
I feel like that has been a mantra of yours throughout your life. Let me know why now you decided to write a book about it, and that was the title, because I feel like that has kind of been something that's driven your entire life.
Yeah, so for me, Own Your Narrative was very easy to select as my book because I always do speaking engagements, and it's all about owning your narrative.
Yeah.
And so my whole mantra is I cannot celebrate my success without acknowledging my scars. And that, in essence, is the crutch of owning your narrative. Whatever your journey is, whatever your past is, you got to own it.
Yeah.
And so that, in essence, became the title of the book.
I love that. That's so good. In your book, you say, the windowsill was my refrigerator.
Yes.
Let's talk about that. I want to go back to when you think about that version of Tiffany, what did survival look like on that particular day?
What did survival look like on that particular day? Survival was really just putting one foot in front of the other. But I would say even that moment of Tiffany and putting one foot in front of the other is still the same Tiffany today.
Come on. Yeah.
Right? The challenges could be different, but you're still just trying to get through the day sometimes.
Yeah.
And so the windowsill as my refrigerator was because I didn't have a refrigerator. I couldn't afford one. I was just happy not to be homeless anymore.
Yeah.
And so being able to put my son's milk on a windowsill just to keep it cold, to me, other people probably thought it was poverty. for me, it was actually progress.
Right.
And so I would just say that that moment of epiphany is still the same moment today. It's
Yeah.
just those steps are different. They represent different things.
People see you now as this executive, this woman who has made it, but
Yeah.
your story, when people read it, I'm excited for people to dive into your book, because when they read it, I feel like they're going to see themselves in a lot of areas of your life. But I want to take you back to young Tiffany,
Yes.
to how you navigated your life and how you got to this point that you are today, because your story is so phenomenal.
Oh, thank
It
you.
really is. Yes.
you.
So let's go back to young Tiffany. What was it like growing up, and like, where did you see yourself as a young girl? Because I know for me as a young person, I feel like I already knew, I saw where I was going to be in the future.
Yeah.
And, you know, a lot of times it changes like 20 times before you actually grow up. But where did young Tiffany see herself going?
Yeah. So first, what did you want to be when you were younger?
I wanted to be an actor and a singer. So,
Look at you.
Yeah.
Look at God.
Look at God. Won't he do
Won't
it?
he do it? Yes, he will.
Yes.
So for me, when I was growing up, I would say I was in the all-American family, right? It was the 3-story home, the 2 kids, the dog, the white picket fence, the 3 cars, what people would say was an all-American family.
Yeah.
And so at that age, I think I had this vision of what success looked like, because my father was an engineer. My mother was in community service and politics. And so I thought, and they thought I would grow up to be the mayor or something, right? Something phenomenal, a doctor. It was just kind of bestowed on me, like, you're going to be successful. You have no other option.
Right.
And so that's how I grew up, with the furs and the, sundresses, and, going to the hair salon with mom on the weekend, and having piano lessons and piano recitals. But all that then changed. But my childhood, I would say, was probably just about as good as it could get.
Yeah. Now let's talk about that shift.
Yes.
You were 14 years old. I'm assuming that you were probably raised in the church, like the
Yes.
family. Yeah, which is a huge part of our childhood. And then you find out that you're pregnant.
Yes.
What was that moment like? First of all, like going to your parents and saying, "Hey,
Yeah.
you're a kid."
Yes.
How do you even articulate yourself to say, "This has happened. I was doing this when I shouldn't have been doing this"?
Well, I didn't even get that opportunity. Maybe
you
it was
serious?
a blessing and a curse.
Yeah.
But I actually went in. I was in track. I was doing cheerleading.
Oh.
And I went in for a regular annual physical with my mother. And that's how I found out, right? Just on the regular annual physical, you have to give urine, you got to, do this. And the doctor told her before they told me.
Oh my gosh.
And so that's how I found out I was pregnant.
Wow.
Yes. And I remember leaving, the first thing my mother said when we left, you're going to have to tell your father.
And what was your relationship like with your father?
Oh, it was great. I would say if, people gravitate to one versus the other, I was
Yeah.
definitely daddy's girl. So it was
Yeah.
definitely harder to then
Yeah.
have to tell my father.
Yeah, for sure. Because you don't want to let him down.
You don't want to let him down.
Yeah, take us
right?
back to that day when you're walking in the house and you're like, "Dad, this is what's happening."
Yeah. So
How
I
do you
didn't
even prep yourself?
so I didn't even have to walk in the house and tell him. He was traveling at the time. He was Air Force, and he was also an engineer, but he was traveling at the time, and he had called, "How was school today?" And it was just the regular day. And so I talk about in the book where I said, "It's fine."
Yeah,
And because we were so close, he's like,
it's
"Something
fine.
sounds off.
Yeah.
Like, was school really okay?"
Ugh.
And then I went ahead and answered and said, "Well, yeah, but Dad, I'm pregnant." And so I talk about in the book how that moment
Yeah.
was almost like just a drop of the floor, because he's like, wait, did I hear you correctly? And then it goes silent. And I talk about that in the book, like that moment of silence that felt like eternity,
Yeah.
to the point where I'm saying, hello, hello, realizing he actually hung up,
Oh my gosh. He's probably in disbelief, like, not my baby.
right? Because here I am, this child of someone that's a mother always in the community, a father that, right, is
Yeah.
very much analytical, and, they're both considered very successful. So you're supposed to have successful children.
Yeah.
And to them, of course, like as we grow up, that is not what is allowed.
Yeah.
And so overnight, I went from this all-American white picket fence type of household and upbringing to now the floor dropping from under me. Yeah.
My goodness. I couldn't imagine. Like, my dad is like one of my best friends. So like me having to I can't imagine like how you look and revere your father.
Yes.
And then hello.
Yeah.
And he's hung up the phone. heartbreaking.
Yeah, because at that age, right, you're not used to getting hung up on.
No.
Right?
Right.
You don't hang up on people at that age. And so
No.
it was new to me. I think that was the very first time.
That you've been hung up on.
Yes. And then it took a while to be able to articulate, like, well, what happened? Because
Yeah.
back then you're thinking, oh, maybe the phone cut off. Right? Maybe
Yeah.
something happened. You don't realize, no, you got hung up on, boo.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. My goodness. So then that kind of, what happened after that? Did they just push you away, or you're 14?
Yes. So my mother gave me two options. And so option one, which was, right, and being that you're growing up in the church,
Yeah.
you're not supposed to show that you're even pregnant. So it was, well, don't worry, you don't have to have the baby.
Wow.
So that was option one.
That was option.
And I said, well, I don't want to do that. And so then she went into like, okay, what's next? You can go away, you'll have the baby,
Tiffany.
and then you'll come back. Right? So it was almost like you go live with an aunt.
Yeah.
And then you come back. And I think that was part normal back in the day, where that's what people did, and they gave their kid up for adoption. And I said, I didn't want to do that either.
Yeah.
But those were my options. Do you want A or do you want B? There is no C. And so when I didn't want either option, my mother being in community service and being very tied into then helping foster children, which was very interesting. Now I'm able to reflect as I write and reflect that I think her reaction wasn't necessarily for lack of empathy for me. I think it was because maybe she felt like, here I am trying to help everybody else's children.
Yeah.
And my own needed me, and I wasn't here.
Yeah.
And so I think she just went into kind of like fix-it mode.
What a mother, now looking back, you're a mother now.
Yes.
What would you do in that situation if your daughter was 14 years old and...
Yeah, being that I lived the experience, of course you're like, how'd this happen? Which that question that you ask someone is like not the question, because you're like, you don't want to know the answer, right?
Right.
You're like, you already know how it happened.
You know what happened. You know how I got here.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But going through the journey, I would definitely be 110% supportive.
Yeah.
Right? I say everybody has different circumstances, challenges, obstacles. I wouldn't dare go as far as to call it a mistake.
Yeah.
But those challenges, those obstacles are going to look different for everyone. And
For
they're going to
sure.
happen different times in people's lives. That just happened to be my obstacle.
Yeah, for sure.
And so knowing how I got through it, I would definitely be there to support my daughter or whoever else would be in that situation, which is
Yeah.
what I try and do outside of work.
For sure. As an adult now, I know a lot of us, we deal with the childhood residue that rises up that we feel like we may have suppressed. Was there anything that you saw that maybe has showed up from your childhood, whether it was abandonment or the embarrassment that you may have caused your family? Did anything kind of creep in as you became an adult and you're like, where is this coming from? And it stemmed back from that moment?
Yes. So I think there's a lot. I don't think you ever really lose your childhood.
No, that inner child is always there.
The good memories, as well as what people would call childhood trauma. I think it sticks with you unless you address it head on. And so for me, I do see elements that will pop through, especially even today, and I have to actually acknowledge it. There was one example that I remember when I finally got to corporate America, and there was a pizza party.
Yeah.
And at the pizza party, everyone's getting pizza, they're getting salad, they're sitting out like at the long board tables and they're having conversation. And I remember someone standing over a pizza box and pointing to the pizza box saying like, who keeps doing this? Right? And so a couple people that was over there, like they started like laughing, and a couple people sitting down were laughing because they knew what they were pointing at. And it didn't dawn on me. I'm like, okay, I missed the joke. What they were pointing at was someone was cutting the pizza, leaving the pizza and only taking the crust. And in that moment, when I realized what they were talking about, I realized it was me and my childhood drama and trauma that came with me.
Wow.
Because when I was so young and I had my son, if I could afford a piece of pizza for $1.25, I would give him the pizza and I wouldn't eat. And as a toddler, they leave the crust behind.
Yep, I still do.
Right?
Yeah.
They leave the crust behind.
Yeah.
And I would be lucky if there's a little bit of ragu sauce on it, but otherwise it's just bread.
Yeah.
And that would be my dinner. And so here I am years later in
Still
corporate
doing
America, still taking a knife, cutting the pizza, and just taking the crust. And it's something that shows that whatever you go through in childhood, if you don't address it,
Yes.
it follows you.
Yes. In that moment when you realize, wait, it's me that they're laughing at, did you realize this is something I haven't dealt with? And have you done the inner work? Have you gone to therapy to really kind of help heal those broken parts?
Absolutely, right? I say therapy is like getting your hair done, getting your nails done. It's all a part of self-care.
For sure.
Right? Because sometimes you need, and I think in our community, we don't embrace it enough because it's almost as if, well, there's nothing wrong with me.
Yeah. I'm okay.
Right?
Yep.
I'm a girl, I'm going to pray about it. Right? And I'm going to pray about it too, but sometimes I need an answer now. And sometimes I got to trust God and God's time. And so, but I need an answer in the next 59 minutes. So let me go ahead and do this therapy session for 60 minutes and see what she's saying.
Right.
And so sometimes having that person that's not biased, but can listen to you and then give you that unbiased kind of honest feedback to kind of turn the mirror and make you look at yourself is helpful. And so, yes, working through therapy and having that independent person has been a lifesaver.
Yeah, no, I love that. When did you begin to reshape your relationship with your parents, and how is it now?
Yeah. In terms of reshaping it, I would say it was a journey. I don't think there was ever a turning point.
Okay.
And growing up, there was this element where I had first the mentality of, okay, I've come through now alternative school. I've been through the homelessness. I've been through the shelters. I've been through the domestic abuse. Like I've gone through all of this darkness by myself.
Yeah.
And I've quote unquote made it to the other side. And I remember talking about it like an analogy, almost like an apple pie, where you have this nice warm apple pie. And now all of a sudden your family comes and they want a slice. And they're like, you can't eat that pie by yourself, girl, give me a piece. And I remember feeling like, but you didn't help me pick these apples. You didn't bring me a basket, even when you saw my arms were full of apples.
Wow.
You didn't even bring me a cup of ice water when you saw me sweating with these apples, all while I got my kid on my back.
Yeah.
But now that I come in and I bake this pie with all of the struggle that I had to go through to get these apples, now you want a slice.
Now you want a slice.
But then as I matured, I realized eating that pie by myself is not the same as eating it with the people that I love.
That's so true. Ooh, that's good.
And I think that's where a lot of people will say forgiveness is not for the other person.
It's for you, baby. Yes.
It's for you.
Yes. Yeah.
And so being able to realize, like, I want to share my pie with my family. I want them to celebrate this and enjoy this has been so freeing, where it's not a matter of how's that relationship? Is there still tension? Is it still this? Is it still that? For me, it was very liberating.
Wow. I love that. That is that's a beautiful analogy. It's not as good as eating with the people that you love.
It's not a coffee bean analogy. It's an apple analogy, but hey, we're going to roll with it.
I love it. Yeah. Exactly. I love that. Let's see. I want to talk about the journey from going from struggle to success. When did you realize, okay, I'm in a place now where I need to get my life together and I want to start striving for the things that I want to do?
Yes.
Yeah. When did you decide I'm going to college? This is even going into finance. How did we get from where you were from homelessness to the shelters to now deciding I'm picking myself up by the bootstraps and I'm going to go for it?
Yeah. For me, I think I never lost sight of wanting to be something big. Like my circumstance never trumped the fact that I knew I could do more. Right? And so that's what I think I want people to get out of this book, which is your circumstances don't define you.
Yeah.
Your challenges don't define you. You may be on a detour, but you still own that journey.
Yeah.
And so for me, I always wanted to still get there. So once I was able to get on my feet, I couldn't go to a regular school. I didn't have anyone to watch my son. And so I had to go to an alternative school where we'd get on the yellow school bus, his car seat and myself, and we would go to school together. The kids are in one room, there's a glass wall, and you're learning in the next room. And so for me, it was just a matter of, I still want to get somewhere. I just might have to change my journey, my path, my street, but I'm still determined, and it's just taking that one foot after another.
Yeah.
And then going through that journey and having different resources at colleges and people believing in you and, helping you and just kind of seeking out. I always say you have not because you ask not.
That's real. That
and
is
so,
true.
just telling people what you need. And so just always being willing to raise my hand, ask for help, and putting one foot in front of the other has really
Yeah.
been what the undermining piece of success has really been grounded on.
Yeah, and that perspective, I feel like your ability to, no matter what it looks like out of the window, you shift that perspective into something positive.
Yes.
I think that's so important because a lot of times we get stuck in the circumstance and that's where we stay.
Yes.
You know, but you had the wherewithal to say, no, I'm not staying here. I'm meant for greater. And you pushed through that. Was that something that you saw growing up? Like, what gave you that? Was that something that you were just innately born with?
Ooh, well, I think it was probably part being surrounded by the parents I had, who were, right, according to everyone, very successful.
Yeah.
And so that's what I grew up with. So I didn't understand why all of a sudden I couldn't still be something.
Yeah.
Right. And I think even today, people, right, there's a glass and you're either going to see that glass half full or half empty. And it's all in your perspective.
Yeah.
And I just never thought I was a victim. I just knew I had this circumstance that I had to navigate. And I think that perspective is really what changed everything, because most people looking at me, they always say, how did you do it?
Girl. Yeah.
And I'm like, how could I not have?
Yeah. No, for sure. I mean, I would think even at a young age navigating that and then deciding, okay, I'm going to do this. But with your child, I've got my child on my back while I'm doing
Yes.
all this. What was that like, even trying to juggle the two, like going for what you really wanted, but also having this little mouth to feed?
Yes, yes.
Yeah.
Difficult, right? That's where those knees get all kind of scrapes and bruises, because you're spending just as much time on your knees as you are
Praying,
trying to
yeah.
put one step in front of the other. I remember having to go to school and take my son with me, right? Because there's an evening class and you need that evening class to graduate. Well, daycare's closed at 6 o'clock. And so I'm there with everybody else who's on, you know, their parents' dime and this, that, and the other. And I'm sitting there with a child. But for me, it was my determination, my drive to be better was so much bigger than being uncomfortable or embarrassed, that I didn't have a choice. So, all right, let's go.
Yeah.
Looking back, sometimes I say like, oh, how did I do that? But I think when you're in it, right, you just make it work. You make it work.
Have to. Yeah, for sure. And even I feel like in those moments you lean on your faith even more. I feel like you go back to what you know.
Yes.
You know, and at what point, like you said, I spent as much time on my knees as I did trying to put one foot in front of the other. How did you lean on your faith in those moments?
Sometimes that's the only person I had to talk to.
And what were those conversations like? Because I know somebody is going through this, that's going to hear this.
Yes.
And sometimes they don't have the words or even know how to talk.
You know, the thing that I would always say when things felt heavy is, God, I know you're not going to put me through more than I can handle.
Yes.
I know you're not going to put me through more than I can handle. And that would get me through the night.
Yeah.
It would get me through the night.
Wow.
And so just knowing that there's someone rooting for me would keep me going.
Yeah.
Would keep me going.
I love that. I love that. There was a moment when you stepped into a completely different version of yourself and you ran for the 2006 Miss Black Georgia USA.
Yeah.
What made you even decide, I'm going to go for this? Because that's like a huge thing, you know, like to live the life that you lived previously and decide, hey, I'm going to go for this. And I mean, I see why, like you're gorgeous.
Thank you.
But yeah, what made you decide that you wanted to do that? Because I was a pageant girl and it is no joke.
Oh,
Yes.
I love that.
Yes.
So for me, right, when things were perfect, if you will, I was in pageants as a young girl.
That's a part of that lifestyle.
Yes, it's part of lifestyle. That's where the piano lessons came from, right? Okay. And so I grew up around that. And so you fast forward, I now have my son, I'm now older.
Yeah.
And my goal was really to give back. And so at the time, before I reigned, I had, quote unquote, adopted a group of girls from a group home that was going through the court system for sexual exploitation.
Oh my goodness.
And so in essence, it was a campaign here that Shirley Franklin had when she was our mayor. And it was around kind of human trafficking, sex trafficking. And so these girls, as they get picked up, if they're repeat offenders, they go to this group home. As opposed to going into like juvenile detention or something. And so I would spend my Sundays with them.
Wow.
Mentoring, no makeup, no skin showing, just hair in a ponytail and sweats.
Yeah.
But just trying to mentor them and tell them there's a different way of life and that beauty doesn't have to be through a certain channel. And then when I saw the Miss Georgia opportunity, I wanted to go and volunteer. That volunteering actually ended up with me entering.
Wow.
So my initial thought was not to enter.
Yes.
It was really to go volunteer and try and help with this platform.
Yeah.
And so once I entered, luckily I was successful enough and I won. And then my platform was inspiring and empowering at-risk youth. And I would always say, because I am one.
Yes.
And then my goal was really to help people understand that the people that are considered at-risk youth look like me.
Exactly. Yeah.
And so if you can look at me, or you can idol me, or you can see me and applaud my success or applaud my journey, then why can't we help them so they can be applauded as well?
I love that. I love that. What was that experience like for you?
Oh, it's like a second job.
Well, at least yours was it was
Miss Black
Miss
Georgia
Black
USA.
Georgia.
Yeah, so it's like a second job,
Yeah,
right?
it is.
I'm working in corporate America, and in the evenings, I remember there was like an album release party for like Big Boy, and they're like, okay, we want you there to do XYZ, or someone's opening a dealership, we want you to cut the ribbon, and
right, so be everywhere.
It was everywhere.
Yeah,
everywhere, on top of being a single mother, on top of working full time. But for me, my why was so much bigger than I'm tired.
Yes. Yeah.
It was, how do I get out there? How do I get my profile out there? So then my platform is out there.
Yes. Yes. And it grew. Is this something that you continue to do today?
Yes.
That's amazing.
Yes.
I love that. That is beautiful. And I think now, even with the times, that was in 2006.
Yes.
It's worse. It's much worse. So that you were ahead of the curve, even helping young women in those positions.
Yes.
So that is incredible. You earned your MBA from Emory.
Yes.
You went on to complete executive education at the Wharton School, and you have worked for companies like Coca-Cola, Heinz, Viacom, CBS, and now you are the senior vice president at Starbucks. Talk about, first of all, as the kids do. Congratulations.
Thank you.
That is how you turn lemons into lemonade.
Yes.
Like you did that. But I want to know, going back, how did you even get on that path to like, this is what I'm going to do, and then this is what I'm going for to get to the senior vice president of Starbucks, this huge company?
So my thought in going through school, I was always good with numbers.
Okay.
So that's kind of the finance accounting background. So I'm a CPA by nature. But when people would see like the color blue on a crown, I would see 4. When you see red, I would see 3, because I'm looking at the number of letters.
Oh.
When you see yellow, I would see 6.
Gotcha.
And so by nature, I ended up going into something I was very comfortable with, which was accounting and finance.
Okay.
But my goal in going to accounting and finance, I wanted to be in the role that gives money back to the community. And so in my mind, I knew that was corporate responsibility, corporate engagement, right, with companies. That was my focus. But then as I went through my career journey, I realized it's the CFO that actually dictates what percent corporate responsibility is going to get.
Yes.
So then I said, well, how do I get closer to CFO?
Yeah.
Then as I started moving closer to CFO, then I realized, wait a minute, it's the CEO that sets the strategy, that says, if we're even going to give, into what areas. Is it going to be financial literacy? Is it going to be for food hunger? What are we going to give to?
Right.
And so that's when I set my mind on CEO. And so my goal has been to be CEO since.
Wow.
And so in my journey, it's a matter of, how do I get to the CEO seat?
Yeah.
How do I find myself sitting next to a CEO so I can learn what they do?
Yeah.
So I can shadow them. And that placed me in the role of investor relations. So in investor relations, I'm sitting next to CEOs.
Yeah.
I'm speaking to Wall Street on their behalf. I'm traveling with them to Wall Street. I'm managing $130 billion in stock market cap on Wall Street. $130 billion with a B. And then I am supervising $4 trillion in assets under management on Wall Street. All because I want to get into a seat where I can make decisions on how we're going to give back to the community.
Wow.
Because I want those young Tiffanys to understand, if I can do it, they can do it too.
Well, you are the living proof. Seriously.
I'm not there yet, though. I'm not there
yet. You're getting there. You're really close. You're getting there. And I'm sure that these are moments where you're developing relationships.
Yes.
You're still learning and cultivating. So when you do get that seat, you'll know exactly what to do.
Yes.
And not a moment sooner than it's supposed to happen.
Absolutely.
Yep. I truly believe that. And God has you right where you're supposed to be.
Thank
I
you.
love that. And I do believe that because your heart is in the right place, it's going to happen for sure.
Thank
No,
you.
seriously, yes. You talk about investments. So tell us about
Yes.
this role, because I'm really big on financial literacy. That's one of the pillars of my foundation, is making sure that our community,
Awesome.
yes, understands
Yes.
financial
I need to
literacy.
get plugged into that.
Definitely, yes. We have to get you plugged in.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Yeah.
So for me, I explain it in terms of Wall Street, right?
Mm-hmm.
Everyone that's working, if they have a 401k or anything like that, it's being managed by these big firms.
Yep.
The Fidelity, the BlackRock, the State Street, the Vanguards. And so my job is to talk to the individuals that are holding these basket of stock in these portfolios. So you have your 401k, it's with X company. There's going to be a small cap basket with all the companies that are considered small cap. There's going to be a basket for international stocks for companies that are international. There's going to be a basket for very high growth type of companies, right? And so Starbucks is sitting in one of those baskets. My job is to talk to that person that's managing that basket and make sure they put as much Starbucks as possible in that basket, to the point where they have to push some other stock out the way because only so much can fit in that basket.
Right.
The more of our stock that goes in, the higher our stock price goes. And so my job is to make sure they understand our strategy, our performance, our innovation, so they're excited to put more of that Starbucks stock into that basket, into that portfolio.
Okay. I love that. So I need to get some Starbucks stock.
Well, I can't say because that'd be insider trading.
Okay. Yeah, we do not. So I said that. She didn't say that. But got it.
See, financial literacy.
Yes.
We just learned something.
We did. We just learned something. So that is amazing. I want to know, there's a line in your book that says you are enough, not when you fix everything, but right now as you are.
Yes.
Was that something that you always believed in, or you had to grow into that? Because right now you're sitting in seats where, I don't know if you always believed that you were enough for that seat, but now you're there. Is this something you had to really kind of...
I ain't there yet.
You there, honey. Stop.
I am not there yet. Until I get to that CEO
She said that is the spot.
Yes, yes. I am not I'm not loosening this foot up off the gas.
I know that's right.
I feel like there's times where I feel like I'm enough even though I'm not there yet.
Yes, absolutely.
And there's other times where I feel like I'm not.
Let's talk about those times.
Right? Like I'm sitting in rooms where I have the founder of Starbucks, multi-billionaire. When he speaks, everyone listens.
Yeah.
I am the only one that looks like me. In that type of setting, you don't feel like you belong. You don't feel like you're enough. And so you almost wear this mask, you almost wear this armor. But my philosophy has been, I'm going to still be in that moment. I'm still going to be there. I'm still going to take up space. Yeah. Even if I feel like I'm not enough. But I still feel those moments when I'm in rooms and I'm the only one that looks like me. It's there, right? It's imposter syndrome, but I want people to understand it doesn't go away.
Wow.
So you have to own where you're at in your journey. You have to embrace your journey, because it's never going to be, if I get here or if I just keep moving, then I'll be comfortable. Yeah. Then I would have made it. It's a journey that really never ends.
No,
and so you
for
have to
sure.
embrace where you are.
That's so good. I feel like you said it never stops. No matter what level you go to, you're going to feel a little bit of that.
Yes.
Has there come a moment where you feel like, okay, but I do belong here, even if I'm feeling a little uneasy, this is where I belong? Have you gotten to a place where you feel that?
I mean, I'm comfortable. I'm very comfortable sitting in the room. But right, you still get the butterflies, especially in my role. And people are asking, well, Tiffany, what's the street saying? And so you're in essence on a stage in that room.
Yes.
And whatever you say, they're listening and they're taking action against it. And so when you sit in rooms with those big names, it is overwhelming. I will never allow myself to sit in a room, though, and shrink.
Good.
But it doesn't mean that I feel full. It doesn't mean that I feel 100% ready, but I will never allow myself to show or shrink.
I love that. You are in a position of leadership.
Yes.
What does that require from you internally? Like when you get up every day knowing that you're going to the office and you're going to have to lead your team, what does that feel like, and what weight do you have to carry with that?
Yeah, I think growing up in corporate America, I looked around to see how other people were leaders, and I tried to mimic it. And it was very much I'm tough. It was the Tarzan. I'm the boss. Do as I say. I need this, nope, and I need it in 10 minutes. And right, it was this kind of mantra where I saw people exerting their leadership and their talent and their title as a way to manage people. And I realized that's not how you bring the best out in people, because I realized they weren't bringing the best out in me. And so when I wake up and I think about leadership, I think about how do I authentically connect with my team?
Yeah.
I know who my team's spouse is. I know which one of my teams is going through IVF. I know which one of my teams is going through early screening because they think they might have to get chemotherapy early. Like, I know these things, and it's deeper than what's the deliverable, what are we trying to get accomplished? Because then they go 110% harder for me because I'm showing up connecting with them on a personal level, not on an employee level. I think that's a lot of times what people miss in leadership. They think it's title now will dictate and determine how someone should listen to them, and it's really the connections.
Yeah, that is so true. And that's a good pointer for all leaders out there. That is so good. You also say in your book, perfection isolates, but authenticity connects, which is basically what you just said. So you live by that even through your leadership skills at work. What made you realize that authenticity wasn't something that was optional, but it was something that you needed as a leader?
Yeah. I think as I just started managing more and more individuals in the corporate space and seeing how we connect, versus when I would do speaking engagements and I would be authentic and I would tell my story and seeing how I would connect to those individuals. And it was just a matter of realizing that people are coming to work dealing with things. And when they come out the car, you try and leave it at the door, but you can't leave it at the door. You're wearing it.
Yeah.
And so how do I connect with them so they feel comfortable where they're not coming in with that weight?
Right.
You know, I remember having a speaking engagement, and I was on stage, and it was like bright lights and a big auditorium full of individuals. Everyone's in like nice polished suits. And I get down from stage and they take the lapel off me, and I'm talking to the people backstage, right? The cameras, the crews, and I'm saying goodbye. So I leave, I push the black curtain open, and there was a young lady. And she's just sitting there sobbing, crying. And she doesn't look like me. And I remember looking at her almost like, has she been waiting for me all this time?
Right.
Because I was taking my good old time in the back. And I went up to her, and she said, thank you. And I still remember it like it's yesterday, even though it was years ago. But she says, thank you. And I went to hug her and embrace her. And I'm thinking like, you know, she just really enjoyed the speech. And she goes on to say like, no, you don't understand. I am an addict of 7 years.
Wow.
And this is a corporate America setting.
Yeah.
And I look around at all my colleagues, and I look at everybody who graced that stage, and I thought, everyone is perfect. And I don't belong here. And when I feel pressure and I feel like I don't belong, I tend to revert back to my old habits of how you deal with stress. But for once, I finally felt like I belonged. Because you showed me that you can still be valuable if you're not perfect.
Yes.
She said, so thank you for pulling that weight off my shoulders.
Oof. Oh my goodness.
And so that's when I learned, like, people are dealing with things.
Yes, they are.
And they might seem polished and smiling and happy, but just that authenticity can make such a big difference versus perfection, which if I would have went up there and not told my story, I would have left the stage, and this young lady would have went home still feeling the weight of being at a conference where everyone else looked perfect, everybody's suits were polished, and yet her feeling like she wasn't enough.
Yeah. And that, I feel like when people do that, you're helping more than you're not. When you come as your true self, share your truth, because everybody's going through something like we talked about, but also people are battling things. And to know that you just being, if it helped one person, you've done your job. You know, how did you feel when you left that conference that day?
I felt heavy and light.
Yeah.
Right? I felt heavy because I heard her story.
Yeah.
But I felt light because I also felt like I helped someone, right? Without knowing.
Yeah.
And that's the best way to help, because you're not looking for something in return.
Yeah.
You're just doing it out of the goodness. And so it gives me kind of reinforcement and confirmation that there is value in being authentic. As much as people will say, why do you tell your story? You've made it to a certain level. Like, most leaders don't tell their story.
Yes.
Well, that's most leaders.
Exactly. Yeah. I feel like that's a big part of the podcast, is making sure that just share stories that hit, that resonate, that are true, and that people can take away and say, hey, I see myself in Tiffany.
Yes.
Because I'm telling you right now, people are going to watch this and be like, that's me. Yes. And they're going to also leave inspired, knowing that they can do better because you've done better. So thank you for sharing your truth.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
You became a mother at a young age, but then you also had children later on. What was the difference in 14-year-old Tiffany as a mom and then grown Tiffany as a mom, and how did those experiences shape you?
Yeah, they're definitely different experiences.
Yeah.
And
I feel like
think
with each child, my mom's like, every child is different.
I would say it reinforces what people have been telling me, which was, I don't know how you did it.
Yeah.
Because now having children, I'm like, whew, you got what? You got basketball, and you got this, and you got that, and what? Y'all got to eat too, right?
I got to feed y'all.
And I still got a call to do. In my mind, I'm like, how did I do this?
Yes.
So now I see when people are like, I don't know how you did it. I'm like, you just have to do it.
Yeah.
Once I became a mother again, I realized it.
Yes.
But it's definitely different. My first child, I was growing up myself as I was trying to grow as a mother.
Right.
So I was learning how to be a teenager and a young adult. At the same time, I was learning how to be a mother. And so with anything, with any job, right, you take your experience with you.
Yeah.
And so I've had the privilege of taking that experience with me.
I love that.
But I would say it definitely made me a better person going through it. But yeah, I envy single moms now, because I'm like, girl, I don't know how you do it.
Yes.
I don't know how I did it.
But how are you balancing it now that you have a career and motherhood? 'Cause
Yes.
that's a whole nother beast in itself.
Yes, it's different.
Yeah.
It is. But now my children are older. So my second child is 18.
Okay.
So he's about to go to college.
Yes.
And so he's been driving for a couple years. And so then he can help the younger one, which my daughter's 14.
Okay.
And so they're a little older. So now it's not as complex.
Yeah.
But it is, right? She's 14. So I'm like, what you doing? Why you gotta go to the park and meet Sophie? Who else there was Sophie?
Sophie, yeah. Yes.
Maybe I'll just walk the park while you with Sophie.
I want to meet Sophie.
Exactly, right? So it changes that dynamic too.
Yes. She's like, Mom.
Exactly. I'm like, I ain't new to this.
Okay. Listen, yes. I was born tonight, but not last night.
Exactly.
That is funny. You have climbed the ladder and you're a phenomenal mother. At what point did you realize that this story needed to be shared? And did you have any apprehensions knowing that you have children that have access to books or the internet, or have you shared your story with them as well?
Yes. So I've shared my story with them. And so the one piece is I shared my story 20 years ago when I reigned, because it was my platform.
Yes.
The difference is there wasn't social media.
Right, yeah.
Right? And so whatever I shared in the community, whenever I would have speaking engagements, it stayed there. It didn't follow me into corporate America. Now it does. But I will tell you, that has unlocked so much more for me.
That's amazing.
Professionally.
Yeah.
Even today, as people try to recruit me, they will say, we have so many people that have resumes and experience like you do, and I don't even know if you're in the market, but we don't have leaders like you.
Come on.
So that has become my competitive moat.
Yeah.
That has become my superpower. And so I tell people, you have to embrace your scars, because they can unlock your superpower. Sometimes you just don't know what they are unless you unlock it.
Yes, that's good.
And so for me, I have embraced
you got that,
it.
Shelly? That's a bar. Yeah.
She gave me a So for me, I've embraced it. And so, my children know, and I even take them when I go speaking. I spoke at the State Farm Arena for the Atlanta Hawks a couple weeks ago. I took my daughter and some of her friends so they could see. It was interesting. Afterwards, she said, Mom, did you know such and such didn't know you had Aunt 14? And I was like, you ain't tell her before I went on that stage?
Right.
You supposed to be briefing the group.
You got to brief Sophie.
Yes. So there is that element, but no, I'm very open, because I don't want them to also be naive to what's out in this world. And I think sometimes as communities, we try and hide some of our obstacles and challenges, thinking, I don't want someone to frown on me, or I don't want someone to think it's okay. But you're not saving them.
Exactly.
You could be helping them by sharing your knowledge.
For sure.
And so often we're quick to share, like, let me tell you this cornbread recipe, girl. Right? Oh, let me tell you how grandma do this. But why can't I learn about grandma's challenges so I don't make the same decisions.
Yeah, yeah.
And so I'm very open with them, even with the book. I've let them see different things, right? Hey, I'm thinking about this cover. How do you like
Good.
it? And so I posted the cover on Instagram, and I saw that my 18-year-old reposted it,
Aw.
and he said, "This is a woman that does everything." And so that just melted my heart because I'm
Yes.
like, oh, he's embracing it.
Yes, I love that. In this process, writing a book, I've talked to a lot of authors, and they say that it's somewhat therapeutic.
Yes.
How was this process for you, and was there an emotional moment that you had as you're writing? Because you're honestly reliving these moments
Yes.
as you're writing it. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so writing is definitely therapeutic. I think I had a little bit of a different writing journey than most people because I do the speaking engagements. I'm always tailoring my speech to the audience, so I'm pulling a
Right.
different part of my story.
Yeah.
So in essence, I'm outlining a speech, which is a chapter of my story. And so I had all these different kind of threads to pull together. And then it was just a matter of, okay, how do I organize it? How do I lean in? But I'll tell you, when I first did my book, it was rejected from publishers
What?
over and over again. And they said, you have a great story, but you're writing it like you're writing for Wall Street.
Ah.
It's a press release. And no fault of your own. That's
Yeah.
what you're trained to do.
Yes.
You're very good
Right.
at it,
You're very-
right?
you're
You're
great at
doing
it.
it for Fortune 100 company.
Yeah.
But it can't be a press release. You have to
Right.
put emotion to it.
And here we go.
And so here we go.
Yeah.
And so that's when the unlock came. And that's when the heaviness of the therapeutic piece came.
Yeah.
Where sometimes I would sit and write and I'm like, I got a headache and I don't get headaches. And I realized it was the weight of the book.
Yeah.
It was the weight of the experiences. And even when I would resubmit, I would still get it rejected. So I really had to dig deep
Yeah.
and open. And what the
Goodness.
publisher said was, Tiffany, your story is going to help so many people. Don't hold back. You're going to write this book one time.
Yeah.
So if you're going to write it, write it. And so that has really helped me open up what my experience has been, because I think
Yeah.
people will go through and there's going to be so many things that they say, that's me.
Oh, yeah.
And at the end, it's like, I'm almost going to want to count. Who got the 12? Who got the 15? Who got the 20, right?
Right.
You see those little contests on social media?
Yeah.
Put a check if you've been to Texas, to Pennsylvania,
Yeah.
right? That's what it's going to be. How many times did you say that's me?
Yes.
But I realized it's a better product.
Yeah.
And this book, me sharing my journey, is going to be a blueprint for someone going through their challenges and struggles today.
For sure. Speaking of that, someone who's listening or someone who may read your book,
Yes.
if they feel like they are still in the middle of their struggle, what advice would you give them today?
Ooh, if you're in the middle of your struggle, I would, of course, you have to own your narrative.
Come on.
Right? Because if you don't own your narrative, someone else is going to own it for you.
Yeah.
And in addition to owning your narrative, you have to understand that it is then a blueprint for someone else. Someone else is on a chapter, a journey where you think yours is tough, theirs may be tougher. And so you owning it, you being vocal and you being authentic to what you're going through is going to help someone else and pull them out of their struggle. So own your narrative and own it authentically.
That's beautiful, Tiffany. Thank you.
Thank
So
you.
good. So this season on Keep It Positive, Sweetie, we are leaning more into the theme unapologetic.
Yes.
So I want to know, how is Tiffany unapologetically owning her narrative on today?
How is Tiffany unapologetically owning her narrative? Okay, so I didn't know this question was going to come, but there was something I wanted to say, so this is
Come on, alignment.
So when I did my first commencement speech, I introduced myself after someone came up. And they said my bio and everything. And I then came to the stage and I said, you know, Dean such and such did a great job introducing me. But as a famous poet named Jay-Z once said, allow me to reintroduce myself. My name is Tiffany Willis, and I'm a 9th grade dropout.
Wow.
And that has really been me owning my narrative. And in that speech, I talked about how I wanted to one day write a book.
Yeah.
And I wanted it to be on the Oprah Book Club. I talked about how one day I wanted to be the female version of The Pursuit of Happiness. Wow. And have a movie based off my life. And I talked about becoming a CEO. And this was years ago.
Yeah.
And so to everyone, I want to say, when you embrace your narrative and you live unapologetically, Oprah ain't pick our book yet, but we at least have a book for her to consider.
Yes. Yes.
And we don't have a movie based off of our life yet.
Yet.
But I'm just saying, Tyler Perry, Crystal could play me as the adult Tiffany. So
Yes. We just put that out there. So
yeah, we just gonna put it out
call
there.
me. We're gonna figure it out.
So living unapologetically
Yes.
is seeing what you want.
Mm-hmm.
That can be so far-fetched that people almost look at you and think your dreams are crazy. And I always say, if I say something and you don't think it's crazy, I'm not dreaming big enough.
Exactly. That's it. That is so good.
And so that's what living unapologetically is.
Yes, I love that. That might be my favorite answer yet.
Aw.
That's so good. In closing, we are going to do what we call positive outcomes.
Okay.
That's where our listeners write into us and ask us a question and we give them advice.
Okay.
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so this week we have Haley Brown from Dallas, Texas.
Hey,
She
Haley.
says, hey, Haley. She says, I graduate soon and I will be the first of my family. I've landed a few interviews and look forward to the next chapter. Even with all the goals met, I sometimes feel it isn't enough. How do you stop feeling like you have something to prove?
Yeah.
Mm.
So I'll
That's
just say,
good.
like, Haley, throughout my whole journey, there's still moments where I feel like I'm not enough. I don't feel like you ever arrive and you feel like you're enough.
Yeah.
But the trick is perspective, which is you still put one foot in front of the other. You still make progress because you'll never arrive if you don't make progress. So I think for Haley, it's just about just keep pushing forward. And Haley, depending on what your major is, look me up. Maybe I can get you an internship or a job, Haley.
Wow, that's amazing. Haley, I would tell you, I'm not sure if there's ever a point where you don't feel like you have something to prove. I feel like you're constantly evolving and you have that chip on your shoulder, which I feel like I keep it on my shoulder where like every level I get to, like I've got to prove, if I'm not proving it to myself or to someone else, I'm still proving it to myself.
Yes.
So I feel like at some point, if I'm getting to a place of complacency or I'm leveling out, then I'm losing that edge. So I always like to feel like I'm continually evolving and I always want to prove something to myself that I can be better and do better. So I don't think feeling like you have something to prove is a bad place depending on your perspective.
Yes.
We talk about the perspective. If it's like, I need to make everybody like me or I need to prove to them that I'm worthy, that's a different thing. But proving to yourself that you can do it, proving to yourself that you can be better because we can all be better in different areas, I don't think there's anything wrong with that. Yeah.
It's in essence when everyone goes to give a speech, they all have butterflies.
Yes.
Right? And if you don't have butterflies, then somewhere, somehow, you probably did not prepare or you're not taking it seriously.
Yes, absolutely.
Right? Because you never really feel like you have arrived. You're still trying to do your best.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
I love that. Tiffany, I've totally enjoyed our time. This has been
thank
amazing.
you.
Yes, no,
I
thank
enjoyed
you.
being here.
Tell us where we can get your book, all the information. We
Yes.
want to support you.
Thank you so much.
It's not Oprah Winfrey's book club, but we do have Crystal's book club
Yes.
unofficially, and
There we go.
we all read
There
together,
we
so we got
go.
you, sis.
Yeah, so you can find the book on Amazon. It's Own Your Narrative. You can also follow me on Instagram, which is at Tiffany Willis, @_ Tiffany Willis. I'm still getting used to my Instagram. So @_ Tiffany Willis, as well as you can find all kind of information about me at tiffany-willis.com. And I would love to be supportive to your community.
Thank you.
The Sweetie Swarm, you know, like Beyonce has the beehive. This is like the
Yes.
Sweetie Swarm. So would love to be able to pour into the Sweetie Swarm as much as I can.
No, appreciate it. We're definitely going to swarm around you and get
Thank
your
you.
book and make it a #1 bestseller. We're
Thank
excited
you.
to support you and champion you and everything that you have going on. So make sure you guys follow her, stay up to date on all the things Tiffany has going on, and we'll be sure to support you. And thank you so much for stopping by.
Thank you for having me.
Of course. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. All right, today's Crystal's Closet, I am wearing a cashmere Prada zip polo. My pants are by L'Academy. Shoes are by Dolce & Gabbana. Belt is Bottega Veneta, and my signature jewelry. Wow, you know what stays with me from this conversation is the reminder that our stories don't become powerful when they're perfect. They become powerful when we choose to own them. Tiffany, I want to thank you so much for your honesty, your strength, and showing us that resilience isn't about having it all figured out. It's about continuing to rise, even when life tries to define you. Because sometimes growth looks like rewriting the narrative you were giving and choosing to walk in it with confidence, clarity, and grace. Thank you guys so much for tuning into another episode of the Keep It Positive Sweetie Show. Don't forget to download the Season 11 Kips Reflection Guide at crystalrenehayslett.com. Be sure to subscribe and share this episode with someone who needs it. And if you ever need some advice, positivity, or just want to share what you're going through, email us at keepitpositiveoutcomes@gmail.com. As always, stay blessed, stay encouraged, and keep it positive, sweetie. I love you guys. Until next time.